The Phantom Toll Booth, your gateway to music and more from a Christian perspective, presents press conferences from the only Christian music festival that really matters, the Cornerstone Festival 2012. Sit back, relax, and you will hear from some of the most fascinating, intriguing, and sometimes controversial musicians, authors, and organizations around. Tollbooth.org. Slow down and have your change ready.
Thanks once again for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, at the Phantom Toll Booth Cornerstone 2012 press tent. Joining us right now are The Crossing with your moderator, Darren Depew.
Thank you very much for coming over on a delightfully sunny day. As usual, we have the scorching heat here, but you guys know all about the heat at Cornerstone because you're about as much a fixture of Cornerstone as the heat. You guys have been around for a long time.
Yeah, well, like I said on stage last night, we're, I think, the only band that can claim to play every single festival since '84. So, as far as I know, we're the only ones who have.
Tell us about that very first time.
Originally, we were labeled Wandering Minstrels, and we just kind of wandered around the grounds and found a place and set up and played. And, it might have taken 1 or 2 years into the fest before they actually gave us a stage. But those first years were a lot of fun. I would go off to tune up my pipes, and everybody else would be somewhere else tuning up their instruments, and I would start tuning, and usually it drew a crowd, and I would just be the Pied Piper, and I'd lead them all back, and we would have a crowd following me, and we got people to sit and listen to us just because I started playing my pipes. So
yeah, over the years you've developed a very dedicated following, and there are people here that they have to see The Crossing every single year. Over the years, how has your music changed? And 29 years is a long time to be doing your style of music. Has it progressed? Has it broadened? Has it become more basic?
Well, I think it kind of, it went a couple different ways. There's a time there where we, like say around the Dokas album, where it got a lot more produced, a little bit more of that, I wouldn't call it pop, we've never been pop, but it had a little bit more of that flavor. And I think since then I've been trying to get a little closer back to our original traditional roots, get sounding more like a traditional Irish folk band. So it's gone up and down. As far as content, I think we've always tried to stay aware of social changes. Of course, always being as much as we can a light for Christ through the music. And so that part of it's never changed, but we've kind of changed with the times a little bit as far as what we write about. The music, I think, is going back towards the traditional, like I said. So.
Now, are you part of the Jesus People community?
Yeah, we all are, yeah.
Okay. We have two members of The Crossing sitting here. You're hearing Tony Krogh speak. He's the bagpipe player. And we also have Jennifer Ingerson. And what instrument do you play?
I play fiddle.
And you've been with The Crossing from the beginning?
No, I joined in '86.
Almost the beginning. That's
Yeah,
still very far back.
I got to be a wandering minstrel, but that year I think we got 2 or 3 concerts on stages where bands had canceled. That's how we wiggled our way in.
Yeah, we took canceled spots.
Okay. What are your fondest Cornerstone memories as far as crowd reaction is concerned?
Oh man, so it's got to be the gallery. If you were there last night, what you saw last night was real reminiscent to our, I guess you'd call it our heyday. It was a few years ago, and we had massive crowds. They would dance all the way around the tent, and then it's just a real blast, a real cool party going on. Those are my fondest memories. I think Cornerstone's always been really the highlight of my year.
When you played at the other venue, the Craze Lake Fairgrounds, did you play in the tin shed? And what kind of an experience was that? I still remember that.
We did. That's where, of course, the first couple of years we were the Wandering Minstrels, but we did play in the metal tent shed. She called it the Quonset hut. I don't know. That was just kind of just a general, felt like a normal concert there for some reason. But we did play with a man from Ireland that we had actually covered a song or two of his. Oh man, now I'm thinking of the wrong person. What's his name? Good friend of mine, you know, what's his name? Anyway, he was there that year for his own show, and he came up and played with us too, so that was a fun thing. He and his fiddle player.
Seeing this is the very last year for the fest, what did you have planned special when you played yesterday as kind of a farewell to Cornerstone Festival?
I wanted to make sure we got as many drummers as we could on stage at the end. We've done that a few times, and we've tried to do that at the end of our concerts anywhere we play. Of course, we don't always get guys to do that, but I really wanted to make sure we had lots of guys up there with hand drums playing and just make it just the real tribal part of it.
Incidentally, if anyone has any questions, feel free to step around here and tap me on the shoulder. One question I always like to ask musical artists that have both men and women is, so far as the ministry aspect, do you find that it makes a difference that you have both men and women in the band as far as outreach?
I've always considered Jennifer a spiritual barometer for us. Excuse me. She has a real sensitivity to the spirit that kind of keeps my head in the right place, spiritually speaking, as far as what we might want to share on stage, which direction the songs might go, or even how we, as a band, as individuals, are feeling that day. She's always the first to bring up, let's pray, things like that. But I think having both her and Hilda in the band, it takes that, what would I say? I guess just the, let me put it this way. In our ministry at Jesus People, we make sure that the men minister to the men, the women minister to the women. And a lot of times I feel that having both Jen and Hilda in the band, a lot of those temptations that a guy can find on the road, or a woman for that matter, are eliminated to a great extent. We're all married. We all have wives and families back at Jesus People, so that kind of thing is always real high on our minds. And I think they can minister to women much better than a man could, because they're women. I mean, it just makes sense, and vice versa. Jen, do you have something to add to this?
I guess we're not a kind of band that spends a lot of time ministering, like, oh, come up now and let me pray with you. It's more about conversation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
More about what we talk about between our songs. I think it's good that Hilda and I have each other, two women in the band.
Yeah, that's good too.
It's like these guys, the other 4 guys in the band, really, with the sound man, they're like my brothers, but it's like you say, we can all be friends, but I don't have to go to the guys and say, I'm really struggling spiritually today, that's good for the women to have each other.
Did you bring your pipes to the community? Was that something you brought with you as you...
Actually, no. I didn't even play Celtic music when I joined the ministry. I was more of a bluegrass folky, and I ran into a guy who was just kind of passing through the ministry who played tin whistles, and he actually gave me one of his extras and taught me a few Irish tunes on it, and that's what really got me into Celtic music. And then the rest was downhill from there. I've always liked big things with drones. I play the didgeridoo, I play the pipes, those things just appeal to me, so it was only the next step. But I really found out who my friends were by learning to play the bagpipes, living in community, because we each have just one room separated by one wall, and they're really loud, so.
That was going to be my follow-up question.
Okay, yeah.
Outside of Cornerstone Festival, you do play other gigs, and I know that you sometimes have the occasion to play, pagan festivals or secular gatherings. Tell us what the impact of that is, and how do you approach that in order to have the opportunity to speak your message?
Well, we've never really changed anything as far as our set is concerned. What's been cool about our music is that the music itself is very familiar to people in the, the normal tradition, Celtic music. The folks that hear the, I guess you just call it the secular music as opposed to Christian. And the music is very familiar. We play a lot of instrumentals as well. And we try to base our songs around traditional themes and feelings. So we can go into a pub and play quite comfortably, really, and we've never really changed anything in our delivery. And we can also play a church where the music is maybe more unfamiliar to them, but the messages or the things we sing about are a lot more along something they can understand. So it really fits pretty well in both worlds. At least that's been our experience so far. And it's just worked.
How many recordings have you made over the years?
Oh, geez. You had to ask a math question, didn't you? Was it 7? 6, 7? 7. We've got 7.
Can we have the names of some of those? If you find these out there, pick them up. They're well worth getting.
Well, the first 2 are just kind of basement tapes that we made on our own. And we combined those into one disc. It's called Look Both Ways, Rise and Go. So you can find those first 2 on the one disc. Then we have Dancing at the Crossroads, Docus. We have a Christmas album called In the Court of the King. Our latest is called Baila, meaning home in the Gaelic. Docus means hope, by the way, in Gaelic. And also Standing Stones. So I think I covered them all. But,
Okay, one last question here. Since this is the last Cornerstone, can you give us one single fond memory, not necessarily as playing in the band, just being at the festival?
Jen? I think, go ahead and think. I'll start. You be thinking. All right. Apart from the band and the music, those things are just, the awesome thing for us, at least for me. But there's a real feeling. I've been to different festivals, and I've never had quite the community or family feeling. It might be because, we throw the fest. It's our party, so maybe it feels that way differently to me. But I think even from what people have said, just that there's a real camaraderie of the folks that come here, and it's like a real coming home kind of feel for me, and I think for a lot of people that have talked to me about it, they mention the same types of things. So that's a real fond memory. It's something we can look forward to, every year, or we could. We'll find it somewhere else now. Lord's got another adventure for us up the road somewhere. Jen, do you think a fond memory?
Yeah, I think over the years, just as I've wandered or walked around the grounds and wandered past groups of people who maybe are 16 through 19 years old, and I've caught snatches of their conversations, and they're talking about spiritual things. And those are groups of people that you wouldn't run into and think, oh, they're going to be talking about the Lord. So it's really cool to just run into that all over the place. And it kind of helps me realize that, mostly I assume people aren't inclined to talk about the Lord when they might be,
Yeah.
wherever I go. It's good to see it all out in the open here.
Okay.
One more quick thing that just came to my mind as we were thinking about fond memories is a wedding that I played for out here a few years ago. A man and woman got married and asked me to play the pipes for their wedding. So that was pretty cool to me.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. question? Oh, tell us about Belly Acres.
Belly Acres. That's our that's our screen printing business. It's one of the businesses that Jesus People has to support ourselves with, and that's where I work. And we print all the T-shirts. Most of the shirts you see out here have come through our hands at one point or another. And Hilda finally got done with her laundry, I see, just in time to say goodbye. But Belly Acres, yeah, that's our screen printing business that we run.
Forgot to print my email.
This is Hildy with the
I know.
Crossings just
Hilda.
joined us.
I got
And
here. Hi.
I had asked them a question about a fond memory of the Cornerstone Festival, not related to playing in the band. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Oh boy. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Not even on. Are we on? Okay, I just need a little moment to try to think of something. Oh, you know, one thing, it's slightly related, but of course I've always been on stage when people have gotten into dancing to the crossing, dancing around the tent, doing the jigs, and I've never been part of it myself until one day I was at main stage and the Electrics were playing from Scotland, and people started doing sort of the snaking through the crowd, and I joined and I'm dancing and I'm like, wow, now I get it. Now I get why people are having so much fun when you're in a crowd and you're dancing around to this kind of music. So that was one memory. Sort of on the edge of crossing related.
Okay, well, thank you very much for stopping by. And we have an artist registry back there. Please go back and sign your name.
Okay.
Thank you for many wonderful years and musical blessings to us, and just for providing part of the ambience of this wonderful place.
Well, it's been our pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Crossing. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for stopping by the Phantom Toll Booth on YouTube. Before you go, make sure you visit our website and browse around our album, movie, concert, and book reviews, the latest music news, and our extensive archives dating back 16 years. Bookmark our site. Check out our videos and news feed. Make room for that shadowy structure on your journey ahead. Tollbooth.org. Slow down and have your change ready.